How's it, guys? If you're having any tuning stability issues with your guitar, and you've tried everything that you can think of and your guitar just won't stay in tune, and you're thinking of buying some replacement parts like new tuning pegs, changing the nut, changing the bridge, or possibly even selling the guitar, before you do any of those, just time out for a second. Give this little simple trick a try, because it can help solve your tuning stability issues. And all you're going to need are two very inexpensive household items, one of which is a bar of soap, and the other is some plain old dental floss. So stick around, guys. I apply this trick every time I change a set of strings on my guitars, like I've just done some on my Yamaha. And yes, probably most of you have guessed the trick. What we are going to be doing is we're going to be using soap to lubricate the string cavities and the nut of the guitar. And there are many products out there that do this. Most people swear by a product called nut sauce. Some people use pencil lead shavings. You know, there are many options. But trust me, guys, certain soaps do an incredible job as well. Just a quick note about the soap. First of all, it's very important that you don't use a soap that's wet by any means, because you don't want any moisture seeping into the wood of the instrument and perhaps causing any damage. But you don't want the exact opposite either. You don't want a soap that's too dry and brittle, because they're just going to break and flake all over the place, and the soap material is not going to stick into the cavity. So you want something in between, and this is not meant to be a Dove soap commercial.
You are looking at Dove, the amazing new beauty discovery.
But honestly, because it's soft and creamy, it actually stays in the cavities a lot better and a lot longer, and it's very easy to remove as well if you don't want it there. Obviously, when you put a new set of strings on the guitar, they need a bit of time to stretch in, so I like to speed this process up by grabbing each string, just placing my finger under it and just securing the top with my other hand and just giving each string a good yank. Stretch them in like so, then tune it up again with a tuner and repeat the process 3 or 4 times. It should be fine. And the reason why it's very important to tune the guitar up to pitch, or into the pitch that you're going to be playing in, before applying the soap is that if you apply the soap first with the strings very loose and then start tuning the strings up with the tuning pegs, obviously what's going to happen is the strings are going to slowly start moving into place. But with this motion of moving through the nut, what is actually going to happen is that the strings will push out most of the soap that you've applied there already, and the soap is not going to be very effective. So this is why it's important to stretch and tune the strings up to pitch before applying the soap. So next, what you want to do is you want to move the strings to the side, and the same way I put my finger underneath to stretch the strings, I would run my finger across here, and I would gently just lift each string out and just place it on the side like that. Move these to the side. You can't damage the guitar like this. Maybe if you want to put a piece of paper underneath there, or a hair band. Some of you have hair bands behind there, but it should be fine. Then same with the thick strings. Just move them gently to the side like so. So it should look something like this. Okay, so what I like to do next is I like to just grab the dental floss. You're going to be cleaning the cavities out first before we start applying the soap. So just like you would clean your teeth, you just tear a bit of this dental floss off and you just start going through the cavities one by one. There are 2 reasons why I like to do this. Basically just to get some of the, or most of the gunk out, which have built up, a lot of the sweat and blood and tears, as well as the soap from the other times when I've changed the strings. I like to get the old soap out. Not that a lot of it stays in there, but still you want to make sure that the cavities are gunk and dirt free. And the reason why I like to use dental floss is because chances are, because it's more gentle on your teeth, on the enamel of your teeth, the chances are it's going to be more gentle than on your nuts. So We're gonna grab the soap now, and it's really easy. All you do is just grate some of it over the cavity. You don't actually need a lot, you just need a bit of material to stick in there. Just got to make sure you get a bit of soap material into the slots themselves. And don't worry if it's some of it flakes off, we're going to be cleaning it with a towel anyway. And then all you do is just replace the strings. Just grab a little rag. Then you tune the guitar up to pitch again and you're good to go. Now, Strat players and PRS players. As you can see, the strings go straight, there's not a lot of break angle there. Which is a good thing in terms of stability, but it can be a bit of a hindrance when you're trying to lube the nut of the guitar up, especially when you try to move the strings to the side. You'll find that the first few strings, the ones on the E's, are pretty easy to move to the side, but then you got to be careful, because once you try moving some of the other strings out the way, you will see that because there's not a lot of break angle there, the string actually tightens. So if you try to move the string to the side, be careful, because you risk putting pressure on the nut, especially if the nut is not glued in properly. If you put this to the side, you risk maybe chipping the side of the nut, or you actually risk the whole nut being squeezed out. So don't do it this way. The way you want to do it with like a PRS and a Strat style guitar is you want to go one by one. So I move the string to the side. Put the string back. Take the next string. It should stick there, the next string, or you can just put your finger there just to keep it there temporarily. You lube that one up as well. So basically all you do is you go one by one, you go string by string, step by step, day by day. So there we go, that's lubed up as well, so is that, and so forth and so forth, and then you would just give it a wipe at the end. So guys, this is actually not a new concept, but it's definitely a concept that gets overlooked by many people who actually go on a huge journey and spend a lot of money and by replacing certain parts that actually would not need replacing by any means, or even worse, sell the guitar, sell a perfectly working guitar that might have just needed a bit of tender loving care and a bit of lubing before getting it on. But let's look at why this actually works. For example, every time you do a bend on the guitar, the string actually moves slightly. You don't see this moving, but it's a very small distance that it travels, a few millimeters, but trust me, those few millimeters make a huge difference. But obviously we don't feel this when you're tuning the guitar because of the gear ratios. But what should happen when you do a bend is the string should move freely over the nut, and as soon as I release the bend, the string should move back to its original pitch. But now if you have some dirt in that nut, or if it's not filed out properly, then the nut is actually going to act like a vice and it's going to pinch the string. It's going to prohibit the string from moving back to its original place, or more importantly, its original pitch. And this is why you have the strange phenomena of your guitar going sharp every time you do a dive bomb with your guitar and release the tremolo. But my advice to you is, if you have a tremolo on your guitar but you're not using it, is to lock it down. I might make a video about this in the future, but there are plenty of videos on YouTube out there on how to do this. Yes, there are many other things you can do to reinforce tuning stability, but I highly recommend starting out by the nut and making sure that it's lubricated properly. Even if the slots were not filed out properly and you add enough soap, it will still have a huge difference. Think of it kind of like, I'm sure some of you out there tried on a ring and then you were unable to remove it, and you started perhaps panicking before finding out that the solution was to use a bit of soap and water to lubricate the ring and to remove it. It's the same concept here, except we just want the soap and we don't want the water at all. Apart from lubricating the nut, you might also want to explore other basic things like giving your guitar a general good setup with a fresh new set of strings. This can go a long way as well. Also making sure that the truss rod is adjusted properly, as well as the string height, because if the string height is too big and you go to fret it, by the time you're able to press that string to the fret, sometimes the extra distance the string needs to travel will cause it to go slightly out of tune as well. So guys, I really hope this helped some of you out there. If it did, please just leave me a comment below. Or if you have any questions or any other comments, please feel free to do so. I'll try to get back to you guys as soon as possible. And just a quick shout out to my friend Tivadar from the Vintage 52 guitar store here in Budapest. He was the one who actually showed me this trick. He's the head luthier there. By the way, if you guys are in Budapest, definitely pop in for a visit. They're a really cool store with a great bunch of people working there. I'll put a link to them in the description below. Anyway guys, that's all I have for you today. Thanks a lot for watching. If you liked the video, please don't forget to hit like, share and subscribe, and see you guys soon.